Hi guys, we welcome you to this UPS Youth Wellness Webinar Series 2024. Guys, इस पूरी सीरीज का आइडिया ही ये है that we at Unique Psychological Services believe कि आज का यूथ बहुत अमेजिंग है. ये जो जेंजीज हैं या जो मिलेनियल्स हैं बहुत इंटेलिजेंट लोग हैं, मतलब वेरी टैलेंटेड. इफ आई कंपेयर माई सेल्फ उस उम्र में जो इनकी आज ये उम्र है, व्हेन आई वाज ऑफ दैट एज, शायद उतनी बुद्धि उतनी समझ बिल्कुल भी नहीं थी मुझ में. दे आर मोर शार्प माइंडेड. मगर जब दिल का मामला आता है ना, या इमोशंस का मामला आता है, वहां हमें लगता है कुछ गैप है. कई सारे एरियाज में वी बिलीव दैट द करंट यूथ लाइक एनी अदर जनरेशंस नीड लिटिल हैंड होल्डिंग. एंड आज के टाइम में आज का यूथ होना आसान नहीं है. There are more challenges, more distractions, so many things to juggle with, so much to achieve, so much to give, take, contribute, and lot of things going on. An entire shift in perspective and lifestyle that is also happening. तो ये जनरेशन बहुत सारे challenges के साथ आती है और growth opportunities, freedoms के साथ भी आती है. मगर इसको हम balance कैसे करें? And this entire process of moving into adulthood and figuring out the best way to be a person which is fearless, who can live a life of no regrets, can live peacefully and live a more meaningful, satisfying life is what the idea of this entire webinar series is all about. So, guys, today the first topic of our webinar series is building healthy relationships or meaningful relationships in today's world. I think नाम ही बहुत clearly बता रहा है कि आज के टाइम में एक स्टेबल रिलेशनशिप्स होना, जहां पर आपका प्यार देह को छूकर उससे थोड़ा गहरा जाए, आत्मा को छुए, थोड़ा कम मिलता है. किससे कहानियों में ज्यादा होता है. एंड सिंस एजेस हैव बीन डीलिंग विद पीपल एंड रिसेंटली फ्रॉम द लास्ट फ्यू इयर्स, जितने भी यंग लोग मेरे पास आते हैं रिलेशनशिप इश्यूज पर, एक कॉमन पैटर्न मैंने उनमें देखा दैट मेनी ऑफ देम फील कि मैम ये ना लव शव कुछ नहीं होता है, सब कन्वीनियंस की बात होती है. एंड वाई दी हेल्प शुड यू इवन इन्वेस्ट सो मच, देयर इज सो मच पेन एंड इट्स ऑफ नो यूज. देयर आर सम हु बिलीव दैट व्हाई सेटल फॉर वन व्हेन देयर आर मोर ऑप्शंस, आई वुड लव टू एक्सप्लोर. देयर आर अदर्स हु आर लाइक our parents, we have seen marriages are more a matter of compromise. उन्होंने झेल लिया, हमको नहीं झेलना है. कुछ को लगता है मैम व्हाट इफ मैं बहुत प्योर हूँ, मैं बहुत कमिट कर रही हूँ और सामने वाला जर्क निकला तो. So I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want people to step on me. Others say there is so much more to do and I just don't have the bandwidth for it. There are yet others who say that, relationships ना convenience का matter है. बोर हो रहे हो, टाइम पास करना है, जाओ किसी डेटिंग ऐप पे हुकअप कर कर आओ, एंजॉय करके आओ एंड लीव इट देयर. आई मीन डोंट कैरी द बैगेज, हैव जस्ट द बेस्ट ऑफ इट एंड लीव इट एंड दैट्स ऑल राइट. मतलब बहुत सारे नोशंस हैं. कभी कभी व्हेन आई सी पीपल सेलिब्रेटिंग दैट 1 week 1 month एनिवर्सरीज, इट मेक्स मी थिंक कि हमारी स्टेबिलिटी, हमारी एक्सपेक्टेशंस थोड़ी अनस्टेबल सी नहीं है. या जब रिलेशनशिप्स आजकल इतनी सारी इफ्स एंड बट्स कंडीशंस के साथ आते हैं, आई लव यू इफ दिस हैपेंस, आई एम इन इफ दैट हैपेंस. So a lot of these if buts take the entire essence of relationships out. So in this webinar, we will be talking about what relationships mean. What are the common issues and challenges that today's generation faces? How to deal with the idea of dating, choosing the right partner, setting healthy boundaries, this entire, issue of emotions, really, challenges, finding the right person, how to know what is right, and a lot of these things. And more importantly, we will end up figuring out what are the best ways or some of the more effective ways of finding meaningful relationships in our life. We have amazing, eminent speakers with us. The entire platform of the webinar has been designed in this manner that we have two young youth speakers, one a college 11th 12th student, another a college student, where the young people talk about their challenges. Let's listen things from their perspective. And two senior persons, usually a school counselor, mental health professional, a college professor, or anybody in the field of psychology who has been dealing with these issues at length, and they give a perspective to it. And how can we combine these different perspectives together to have more meaningful conversations? So one by one, we are going to invite the speakers. And at the end, once all the speakers have shared their opinions and views, all of you will get an opportunity to question and have an open round discussion where you can ask any speaker about any questions, share your concerns. The entire idea behind this webinar series is to have an open dialogue. So, with this, we welcome all of you. And yes, before we move on further, I need to make a very important announcement, guys, that all those who wish to be a part of our core youth mental health team, which will aim to contribute meaningfully back to life, are willing to tell us or give your confirmation for the same. And there'll be a selection procedure. We'll be selecting few people out of you who in this entire year would be trained absolutely free of cost in this particular area. So come on, guys, let's work together and create a meaningful difference. And yes, one last thing, guys, don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, which is with the name of Unique Psychological, and YouTube with the name of Unique Psychological Services. We also are on Facebook with the name of Unique Psychological Services for a lot of new updates and amazing informations ahead. So catch you there, guys. Let's get all started to listen to these amazing ideas that our amazing, eminent speakers have to share with us. Our first speaker is Suhani Vats, a very, very young college student, freshman at Ashoka University, and she's also a life skills and well-being ambassador, CPSC. She's an extremely dynamic person. I had known her when she was in grade 11th, and she had come to me for her internships. A very passionate person who believes in making a meaningful difference, very committed, very sorted in her head, and someone that I carry a lot of value or worth for. She is very vibrant, a soul, and I'm sure you're going to love listening to her.
Going from school to college was indeed a very drastic shift for me. The ideal notion of relationships in school is very different to how the ideal notion of relationships in colleges are like. You'll be very okay if people are holding hands in school and then terming it as, listen, this is the guy I want to get married to. Cut to the minute you are in college, you have 10 thoughts before choosing the right partner, because again you have to live within the same environment. You are with people who are coming not just from the same vicinity, but from people but people who are coming from pan India, people who are coming from different parts of the world. Now, taking this idea of uncertainty, I'm deeply honored to be here today speaking to you on a topic that deeply resonates with each of us. I'm in my late teens right now, still figuring out life. But one thing I have quickly learned, and one thing that immediately stuck with me when I saw the topic at first, was that uncertainty, my friends, is the best gift you never asked for. For what I have essentially understood over the period of time is that it's not about dealing with uncertainty, it's rather about embracing it as a part of life, because you can not just deal with it and get rid of it, you will have to have it and adapt it as a part of your life. Now, how I perceive it, it's like the unexpected twist that constantly keeps us on the very edge of our seats. However, I shall try my best to challenge this notion, to redefine uncertainty not as a foe but as a faithful companion, because it has certainly been one for me. Allow me to take you back to a pivotal moment in my life, a moment fraught with doubt, anxiety, questions, and the haunting specter of the unknown. Now, as a freshman at Ashoka University, I'm currently pursuing a Bachelor's of Science honors in psychology and minoring in entrepreneurship. Now, let us rewind this a bit, and you'll find me in high school, dead set on a career in business psychology. The National University of Singapore was the dream, the place where I thought my future belonged, the place where I thought I belonged, and somewhere I was seeing myself just right there. I had my essays all set, ready to submit at just the right moment. My application was under the vetting procedure, and I had a very clear sense of how my life would look like from then on. But Sanya, I think you would certainly agree with me that life doesn't always stick to our scripts, does it?
Absolutely, never actually. I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, there's this dialogue from the movie, I think Parasite, and it says in life, the only plan to have is to not have a plan.
See,
So,
I had the same line in my
oh,
next. Yeah.
yes.
So here's where the plot thickens, and I happened to miss the application deadline for NUS despite my application being all ready. And here is when I find myself adrift, unsure of what and how my future will look like. I hadn't applied to any other universities because I felt very confident in the strength of my portfolio. Ashoka was there for sure, but it wasn't my first choice, though both these universities have very similar curriculum to offer. This lapse in judgment that left me reeling in disbelief and self-doubt was where I was at the peak of the deadlock, where I'm seeing my friends applying to 5, 10 universities, getting offer letters, cut to where I am, seeing the dream of NUS just sliding through my fingers, and I'm just not there. Now days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and I found myself in the middle of confusion. With each passing moment, doubt just grew stronger, and I did not hear anything from Ashoka either. But nonetheless, it was the 19th of June, a day etched forever in my memory. Congratulations, Sohani. It said Ashoka is pleased to make you an offer. Now, at that moment, ladies and gentlemen, I realized that certain things in life are meant to happen just exactly the way they are not planned. They would perhaps just need some time of yours in your life. Now, this is when the weight of uncertainty lifted, giving way to a profound sense of clarity and purpose in your life. Ashoka was offering me a sanctuary of holistic learning, something that I always wanted. A mix of curriculums. It was by far the best that India could offer me. Cut to today, I stand here not as a victim of a circumstance, but I think as a champion of resilience in my second semester, pursuing my passion for psychology and entrepreneurship. I stand on the cusp of this new adventure where I am planning a summer abroad at NUS the very next semester. And this is when I reflect that this is, I think, a very clear illustration of how whenever a door is closed, a window always opens. The point that I'm trying to make here is that in hindsight, I realize that uncertainty is not just a hindrance to be feared for, but a catalyst for transformation. I think I was just never prepared for overseas right now. I just didn't have the emotional stability of going away from home. And I think the place that I am in right now gives me ample possibilities to explore the person I am in India. And I think what better than that? So here's the thing, all is well that ends well. Uncertainty isn't all just doom and gloom. It just tries to push us out of our comfort zones to chase bigger dreams and maybe even surprise ourselves along the way. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Suhani. That was wonderful. I think as
Anya, ma'am.
cliched,
Yeah,
yeah.
please.
No, I was thinking as cliched as it may sound, like the only thing certain in life is uncertainty. So might as well embrace it. And that was lovely. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and congratulations, and have a good summer abroad. Priyanshi is she's currently in 12th. She's from Cambridge School. She is a mental health advocate. She's also held various leadership positions and a psych enthusiast. So welcome, Priyanshi, and you have the floor.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. So I think talking about relationships, it's needless to say that our teen years are filled with, crushes and attractions and infatuations. And of course, there's a hormonal peak. And I think most parents are generally very awkward or, the least interested when it comes to talking about their kids' social life. They're always interested in what's going on academically and how's the school going study wise, but they don't generally speak about friends and especially romantic relationships. And this is something which is very visible in a socio-cultural context like India. So I think due to which then the teens are left with absolutely no choice but to go and just talk to their friends. And it does give us a sense of comfort, I say, because even if you have a good relationship with your parents, I think even then you'll go and talk to your friends more than you'll talk to your parents. It's something that just comes naturally to us. But I think sometimes it's like that it could lead them to being more confused because even our friends are in the same boat as us. They are in the same age and they're probably going through the same thing that we are, and their opinion could be sometimes biased too, because they are deriving it from their own personal experience, and they might not know the what the gospel truth might be in the first place. And since our parents, and this is where our parents are more helpful because they're adults, they're more experienced than us. And I think they just might be better at navigating the different dynamics of a relationship that we as teens might not be able to do. And I think this is where it affects us, and this is where it could be helpful, because whenever you're trying something new, you'll always have this indecisive thought, or you'll always have that basic anxiety that am I doing something right, or am I doing something wrong, or how am I supposed to go forward with it. And in Gen Z's term, to identify a red flag, I don't think that like teens might be able to do it themselves. That is where parents come in handy, and I think that the more you share it with them, the more you ask them about how it could be helpful and how you should approach a problem, because you could take some actions that you will regret afterwards. So I think that's where it's really important to talk to your parents about something like this. And especially that this could be something that when you're a teen and you enter into a romantic relationship, it's something that you're doing for the first time. It's something that could have an impact on you for the later relationships that you go on to. So I think that it could be challenging to a point where it traumatizes you to an extent where your adult relationships afterwards, all your teen years, even they might get affected. You might be too scared to enter a relationship after you've been done with your teen years. So I think that sense of security and safety, the this is where parents need to intervene, and this is where they could provide that sense of safety with the comfort. And and most importantly, what's really concerning to me at least is that in today's world, which is so like fast growing, and it's filled with media and internet exposure, it's also become highly unsafe when you talk about being online, right? And it's something that might not affect you physically, but it could definitely affect you mentally. So I think, like for example, I'll tell you about this sociology project that I did on cybercrime. So the stats over there showed that most of these cases of catfishing and this online fraud or whatever this is, it is being done to minors more, and it's been done by adults, but to minors more. Minors are like, they are the target and they are getting harmed, and it could lead to something as drastic as suicide, because there's a lot of bullying, there's a lot of catfishing. You might not know who's sitting on that screen, you're just texting with their online profile, you really don't know. So I think that is where it has become really important for the parents to intervene. And because it is about your child's safety, man, if it's leading to something as drastic as suicide, I think there is where you need to be aware of what's going on in a child's life. Just knowing that they're scoring good grades will never be enough. You have to know what your child is going through. And just because they're doing great in certain aspect doesn't mean that they're not emotionally struggling. They could be struggling way too much and you won't even have an idea, because you're just so focused on how they're the topper of their class or doing something like that. So I think it's definitely important. I mean, of course it gets awkward, but step by step, if you don't start talking about it, if you don't get into it, I don't think that there's going to be any other, like, if you if you, the amount that you drag it and you try to talk to your parents about it, I think it does get easier time by time. So yeah, that's pretty much from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanshi. I think, yeah, the role of parenting in understanding relationships and the support, like it's much needed. But having said that, not everybody is able to find that safety, and it's important to recognize that as well. But yeah, I think parenting is a very powerful tool to be able to create meaningful relationships. Thank you.
Abha ma'am is James Bond. I mean, she is an expert, an esteemed expert in the field of psychology and behavioral sciences. She brings with her more than 27 years of experience. She's aged in this field of psychology. She has a PhD, MA, MBA, and an author for numerous publications. I mean, the list is endless. She was formerly a director at IILM University, then at Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, and has been working in wide range of areas, right from positive psychology, cyber psychology, cognitive psychology, has earned a lot of international recognition. The list of awards is endless. I think you can see from a screen itself. मतलब जगह भी नहीं हुई कि शायद awards रखने की मैम के पास. And an expert in every field. She has conducted more than 200 behavioral skill programs for diverse audiences, and her global collaboration with Queensland University on positive parenting reflects her dedication to holistic well-being. Before I move further, because it's a very very long, I think the list is never ending. And no matter how much I speak, it's always less when it comes to Abha ma'am. But I like to give you a very personal anecdote here. Abha ma'am is someone who's so young at heart. मतलब मैं ये नहीं कह रही हूँ मैम बूढ़े हो गए, obviously नहीं कह रही हूँ मैं. But someone who has such an open mindset, more willing, and she's actually a Gen Z at heart. I mean, that's how I see her. So मेरे को उनके सिवाय दिमाग में कोई बेहतर नहीं आ रहा था. So ma'am, the floor is to you. Ma'am, help us all of us to understand कि क्या ही हो रहा है इन generations के साथ, and how can we look up for building more effective or meaningful relationships, and कहाँ अटक रहे हैं हम सब लोग. Over to you, ma'am.
Good evening, one and all. Namaste and happy afternoon, I would say. So I'm always thinking in the mind that why relationship causes pain, you know. And if it is true relationship, my dear students, colleagues, senior members, whomsoever listening to me at present, and after this session when it is aired online, so also I address to the online audience, forever online audience in digital age. So let me tell you, if it is a true relationship, there should be no pain. Why there is a pain? That indicates the relationship is not true. So I'll give you the evidence fact which will help you to understand yourself first, and then you can understand the relationship. Do you have relationship with yourself, with you, very happy, loving, and very romantic relationship with yourself? We are in the age of selfies, you know. But I want to draw your attention. Bring this selfie to yourself, right? That's how you take care of yourself and your persona, your image, your identity. But you have to bring this self-care as well. Selfie is okay, but don't you think that self-care is also important? I feel that we are all stuck in relationship. And why? My question is why? There are better things to do in life. We get stuck and we ruin ourselves. Just have this, we are clinging our mind so much with that problem, but not with the situation. Moment we try to de-link our mindset, our mind pattern, our behavior will change. That is why I told you, don't manage your mind by mind now. Manage your mind by your feeling in body. You just feel the body. If I get triggered and see that somebody said something and I felt bad about it, how are you feeling in your body? Don't suppress it. Don't try to repress as much as you can, as we all do it all the time. That's why mental health cases are rising. This is the main reason. We keep on suppressing. And when you get an outlet, you just pour everything. That situation is not substantive at that time, but you pour it because you have outlet to express. Do you think it is right? No. That point is not relevant in that situation, but that person is associated with you in relationship. You will pour that point at that particular situation, which is not related, which is unrelated. We all do it. Am I right? We are very, very good in giving our judgment of outside world and our situation. But we are very bad in understanding our own inner psyche. We are polluting our inner psyche, and this is in turn is polluting the external world. Who will stop this? And this earth is becoming bad because of our emotions. We are not able to handle it. Spiritual science says that if you feel in the environment good, that means everybody is good because some spiritual science practices are going on. You are managing that pollution and you are trying to get rid from that pollution from that environment. Same is our mind, same is our body, and same is that place. And that place become your space. So inner space, if it is not healthy, how can you be healthy outside? Tell me. So that's what my point is. In relationship, If it is true, there will be no pain. Yeah, pain, suffering, I mean to say. Conflict, opinion, that will come, that should come. Conflict is sign of growth. And of late, I read Gautam Buddha's statement. I really like that, regarding serenity. And in relationship context, he has used that if you want serenity, serenity is a trade-off. I'll repeat, serenity is a trade-off, expectation for acceptance. We have to accept, not expect. Simple rule. And you will have peace of mind. So, point I am making, this spiritual science says our soul, our internally we are loveful, joyful, peaceful. And what goes wrong? Why we look love outside? Today we are talking of self-love. It's very important to talk. We need to have love which arises from within. It cannot and never can come from outside. Let me tell you, it's only temporary. It's pleasure. We are confused. It's pleasure which we get. It's temporary. And it has no opposite, like good and bad, love and hate. No, love is love only. Love has no hate. If you are a lovable person, you have no hate. Joy arises from within. Hate arises outside. Have you seen hate arising from within? No. You see some trigger, you start fighting. So it is never within it. The basic element which is present in all human beings, those who are watching right now, we all have love, peace, joy within. We don't know how to express it. So simple, start loving everybody. Don't try to limit love only to girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, families. Try to love everybody. I am not saying that physical relationships are only love. No. You have to go beyond that, And let me tell you the truth of our life. We all are because of love here. Time has come that we need to practice. It's unconditional love, which everybody wants. Who doesn't want? If you want something and you get something in return, that's a conditional. That is why marketing, these are used for marketing people. I think we are not marketing a relationship. Let's understand this. There's a difference in relationship and marketing. In marketing, you say conditions apply, small dot and small star. Relationship is happening like that only. Conditions apply, small dot. You can't see that. It is unstated, but it is stated very clearly. Isn't it? So we need to understand that underline dot which you are not able to see, you have to see and understand. So in relationship, understanding, paying respect to that understanding, not threatening and blaming and challenging all the time your partner or your friends or your family. Try to understand and listen to understand, not to reply. We always are ready to reply. Listen to understand. In relationship, this is where we found these are the gap areas which as a psychologist we need to work, and whom we try to address the problem. They are told that please work on this area. Take training for communication. We need to communicate that what we are feeling. You express yourself. Don't impress, express. Every time we are trying to impress others, visually, psychologically damage you're doing to yourself. That's very important to understand. In relationship, that self-observation method, which I keep on telling, is very important. You observe yourself in every relation, what is happening. You will get to know which is true relationship and which is fake relationship. You will get to know, my dear students who are listening right now, and the professionals who are working, for them also, when you are working in the professional environment, there also you get to know. It's not only you try to achieve target and you get achieve that pat on your shoulder that yeah, done good work, but try to understand that have you done with that sense of commitment? You know it better, and sense of commitment in the sense that the approach which you used to achieve your target, was it right way, or it was ethical way, or you just wanted to achieve your target? You know it better. Let's flow with that flow of energy and emotion and grow with it. So when you flow, you grow naturally and automatically. Thank you all. God bless you all.
Beautiful, ma'am. Lovely. I think we'll take this very important note that let's first treat our inner psychic pollution before we move on to forming bonds with other people. It was lovely listening to you. Every single point was amazing. We would now like to invite Atipriya, ma'am, who would be talking more on dating relationships, again, which is a very common thing, dating. So, Atipriya, ma'am, the stage belongs to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Before moving forward with the dating world, I would like to thank Aba ma'am for, dealing with the intricacies of the individuals and the relationship that we have with ourselves. Because before we move on to deal with the outside world, it's very important to understand where we lie in the whole psyche of the world. So, personally, being one of the sailor in the dating pools for quite some time, I have witnessed a change in the scenarios of dating and relationships. And the more that I get to work with kids, the more I have understood that there is an essence to human needs. And also, sometimes it is so convenient for a lot of us to label the young lovers, the explorers of love, as I came across this term as nibbas and nibbies, and then, turning them into meme material. Also, it is a lot of times convenient for a lot of caregivers, parents, teachers to understand and look at relationships from their own understanding, which makes sense, but the concern arises when I generally hear the term in context क्योंकि हमारे टाइम पे इस उम्र में ये सब सोचने का टाइम ही नहीं मिलता था. So somewhere, the more I practice, I've realized that attitudes like this sometimes stigmatizes the whole idea of relationships, especially for the younger ones because they're exploring. So for all the adults here, I want us all to remember that kids and early adults have hearts too, right? And let us all let this information sink in that whenever we are talking about relationships, the core, as Abha ma'am said, the core lies in the needs, right? It starts with internal needs. And that is one thing that we can relate more because of the wisdom that we've had. And we know how relationships can make us feel vulnerable if the resource that is provided to us is not there. So that is one mindful choice for all of the young adults and the adults here, and the mindful choice that we can make for ourselves. When we talk about choices, I feel it is very, very difficult, but integral and internal part of our functionings. So if we go by the book, it is basically the ability to freely decide between all the alternatives and options that we have. So I want my young Dora the explorers here to understand that we have options. Option of exploring ourselves, option of exploring our sexuality, options of exploring the world with our own perspective, option of identifying with our emotions, option of labeling our feelings and emotions. But while we're trying to explore all of this, one thing that is very, very important is to be in a state of mindfulness. We've heard the term so many times, but do we actually know what mindfulness is? To be aware of our own emotions and feelings, but with a little bit of tadka, which is to be gentle with ourselves. So while we are learning to understand the dynamics of a relationship, to understand to how to navigate within relationships, if it is within us or with people around us, specifically in the dating context, which is very common, we'll have to equip ourselves with life skills, especially with making mindful choices. And to start with that, the first thing that we can do is to be gentle. Understand and know that our feelings are valid and they hold a lot of relevance in our lives. Be it the experience, be it anything, they hold relevance. So it has to start with acceptance. Again, like I said, needs are the integral part of any relationship. Try and sit and identify identify your needs, understand them, sit with them, and for that, a lot of times we ask how to do that. Simple. You'll have to ask yourself questions. We humans have this tendency to answer to questions. So ask yourself, what am I looking at? If it's a relationship in the dating world, what am I looking at? Do I have the energy to invest in this? Do I have the time to invest in all of this? Do I have the bandwidth for it? Do I have the resources available to deal with the challenges and the uncertainties as mentioned by Priyanshi and Suhani? Do I have the resources available? And the major part is to sit with these questions. The world around us, it's growing. And with that, at a fast pace. And with that, the impulsivity in us is also increasing, right? Especially when we are exploring new things, which I would want to believe that, the young generation is doing that at a much faster pace, I would say. So sit with these questions, be patient, right? And to help you understand and regulate that impulsive behavior, try to talk to an adult, a responsible adult, right? And I know sometimes we get the questions कि कोई समझ नहीं रहा है, कोई समझता नहीं है, इनको लगता है कि इन्हीं के experiences हैं, हमारे साथ कुछ new हो रहा है, कुछ अलग है ये, right? And it makes sense. I'm validating all of that. But realize that it's okay to give chance to the adults as well. They're also trying to come to your level and trying to understand. So look for a responsible adult around you, which is very, very important, right? They will help you understand the idea of impulsive behavior in you, and you'll be able to regulate it much better. Now let's come to the socializing angle, right? We are way too influenced by social media, and be it or not, it is what it is. And with that, we also define our own relationships in that context, right? With how social media is and the reels that are there. And it is just not you, it's me too, right? I am influenced by reels, and there are certain times where we end up following certain trends. Okay. So, but when we're talking about relationships, it is you. It starts with you. So if you understand it at a deeper level, it is your emotion. It is your feeling. It is your boundary. It is your experience. So when I'm putting you at the center here, the power to define that relationship also lies with you. So avoid giving that power to social media, that let it define how a good relationship for you is supposed to be. Also, when you're defining a relationship, it's not one directional or involves one person. It is more than two. Because we are talking about the dating world. The internal relationship has been beautifully covered by Abha ma'am, right? So when we are talking about exploring relationships with others, communication is a key role. And one thing that I've observed is the mode of communication. For example, texting. Convenient, very convenient. But is it effective? No. Right? So that is something that we'll have to bring changes in our lives. And sometimes even when we are communicating, we've communicated our needs to our partner, for example. Pura nahi hota hai, right? It's not, life is not always fair. Okay. And us time pe I've observed a lot of kids, especially, and adults too, and people generally, humans in general, saying that मुझे ना किसी से फर्क नहीं पड़ता, अब तो मेरी ना जिंदगी में किसी से कोई expectation ही नहीं है, right? And it is funny in a very, cute manner, I would say. I wish that lives could not be revolving around expectations, but it is what it is. Humans thrive on expectations, be it internal or be it external, right? So rather than utilizing a lot of your energy on thinking that मुझे किसी से कुछ expect ही नहीं करना है, try to start with building, I would say, realistic expectations from yourself and from the others as well. All right. When we talk about expectations, one thing that strikes me the most is boundaries. And I remember somebody in the comment section also writing that, boundaries established karna is one of the major tasks, which is true. But if you go, in a serial wise order, you'll understand that if you've been given equal importance to your needs, if you're giving equal importance to your communications, your expectations from yourself and from the world around you, you'll be able to establish a sense of boundary as well. And once these boundaries are established, it will help you understand your role in your own safety, right? So if I am in a dating world and if my boundaries are established, I'll be able to identify that मेरी boundaries कब break हो रही हैं, मेरी needs क्या met नहीं हो रही हैं, ये relationship क्या मेरे लिए harm या threat तो नहीं बन रहा है, which we actually see a lot in today's world. And that is when the major point comes, that you will now be at a place where it will be okay for you to seek help from the adults or from others, because you know that what is it that you can do for yourself and where is it okay to seek help from an external source, a reliable source, right? So that is why boundaries and establishing boundaries is an integral part and very important, because the harsh reality, beautiful but yet harsh reality of relationships is that, it makes you challenge your thoughts, your ideas, your value system, your own understanding of yourself, and the most important thing, the identity. And with teenagers, adolescents, young adults, we'll agree to Erickson saying that identity formation is the major task. So we will work around forming our identities, and the relationships that we hold with others play an important role as to how we start to perceive ourselves. Easily we say that, you will have to identify with your needs, start internally and then move externally, right? So before we open the stage to the question and answers, I would want to leave all of you with a single question, right? If in a relationship, how internal or external, right? How is that relationship? How is it making you feel about yourself? Don't be scared of the question. Don't be scared of the answer, but at least ask. Thank you so much.
I think very beautifully said, Artipriya. It was lovely listening to all our four speakers. Beautiful. I think all of you have covered everything so amazingly well. We are just running short of time. So, what I'm going to do is I'll quickly summarize it as 10 key tips that all of us should keep in mind if we wish to really have an amazing relationship. And thereafter, we'll open the platform for question answers, right? So, very quickly, these are the 10 tips that will really help you build a meaningful relationship. Tip number 1, develop an amazing relationship with yourself. पहले समझो यार कि what do you want out of life? What do you want out of that relationship? You're wanting to be with this particular person इसलिए कि सबका बॉयफ्रेंड है या गर्लफ्रेंड है और आपकी नहीं है, या because you genuinely have something to share with that person. ऑल्सो जानो कि इस रिलेशनशिप से मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशंस क्या है, मेरे नेगोशिएबल्स नॉन नेगोशिएबल्स क्या हैं, एंड व्हाट इनसाइड मी मेक्स मी move towards this particular phase in my life. Second, take ownership for your fears, anxieties, responsibilities. Because हम सब लोग ना रिश्ते से चाहते हैं, मगर जब कमिटमेंट की बारी आती है, दूसरे की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की बारी आती है, तो हम भाग जाते हैं यार, दूसरे की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी तो हम बाद में लेंगे, पर सबसे पहले लेट्स टेक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फॉर आवर ओन फियर्स एंड इनसिक्योरिटीज. पता है, जब हम फियर ऑफ लोनलीनेस, या कोई हमें रिजेक्ट कर देगा, या मुझे शायद इससे बेहतर कोई मिलेगा नहीं, या हमारे अपने कुछ पास्ट फियर्स होते हैं या इनसिक्योरिटीज होती हैं, उसकी वजह से जब हम किसी को चुनते हैं ना, तो 99.9% हम ना एक बहुत वाइज डिसीजन नहीं ले रहे होते हैं उस पॉइंट पर. और फिर क्या होता है, वी एंड अप ब्लेमिंग द अदर कि वही जर्क था, उसी ने मेरी जिंदगी खराब कर दी. बट यार, आई थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट that jerk or 1 2 3 4 5 people did not come putting a banduk over here. You invited them or you chose to be into it. और अगर कोई abusive हो रहा है तो शायद इसलिए भी कि आप बाउंड्री नहीं सेट कर रहे हो, आप रेड फ्लैग्स इग्नोर कर रहे हो. सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यू आइडेंटिफाई द पैटर्न in your own relationships, which is more a reflection of your own fears, so take responsibility for it. Third, समझो रिलेशनशिप का रियल मीनिंग क्या है. एक रिलेशनशिप जो ग्रोथ की तरफ जाती है, दैट मेक्स यू एंड योर पार्टनर बिकम बेटर वर्जन्स ऑफ योरसेल्फ, दैट मेक्स यू फील गुड अबाउट योरसेल्फ, इज अ रिलेशनशिप. मगर अगर किसी रिलेशनशिप में आप बहुत शिटी फील कर रहे हो, आपकी सेल्फ वर्थ कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो रही है, आपको लग रहा है आप किसी काम के नहीं हो, I think you need to double check and rethink about that relationship. And हर रिलेशनशिप ना लाइफ में कुछ ना कुछ चैलेंजेस लेकर आता है, कुछ ना कुछ कंसर्न्स लेकर आता है. इनफैक्ट लाइफ रिलेशनशिप्स उस केले की तरह होते हैं. When you buy a banana, you pay for the banana, you pay for the peel, but you throw the peel. और केला अगर आपको फ्री में भी मिले ना, बिना छिलके के, तो आप नहीं खाओगे. तो हर रिलेशनशिप के साथ एक वांटेड के साथ एक अनवांटेड भी आता है. पर हम लोग क्या करते हैं, बिग बास्केट सेल करते हैं रिलेशनशिप्स में. हमें लगता है हमें सब कुछ अभी चाहिए, एंड बॉयफ्रेंड 1 2 3 4 की कुछ कुछ चीज़ें यहाँ आ जाएं और एक रेडीमेड नया बॉयफ्रेंड या गर्लफ्रेंड हमारे लिए बन जाए. ऐसे नहीं होता यार. तो जब आप अपने में परफेक्ट नहीं हो, and you also begin to accept certain areas where you're not that great at, it is equally important कि आप भी अपने पार्टनर के कुछ ऐसे एरियाज को एम्ब्रेस करना शुरू करो. और समझो, रिलेशनशिप का अर्थ किसी को बदलना नहीं है. जब अपनी नहीं जमती ना सामने वाले के साथ, या हमारी जो एक एक्सपेक्टेशन की लिस्ट होती है उस पर सामने वाला नहीं बैठता है, तो हम उसे मोल्ड करने की कोशिश करते हैं. बट आई थिंक changing someone or changing for someone is one thing, and changing with someone is another thing. So if both the people in a relationship choose to grow with each other, I think that's what the meaning of relationship is all about. Fourth, very importantly, थोड़ी टॉलरेंस और पेशेंस रखना बहुत ज़रूरी है. मतलब आई ऑफन से दैट कि आज की जो 2 मिनट नूडल जोमेटो काइंड ऑफ अ जनरेशन है, वी आर पेशेंस नहीं है यार अपने पास इतनी. हमको सब कुछ रेडीमेड चाहिए, क्विक चाहिए. तो मेरे आइडियाज़ के साथ नहीं मैच करता, दफाओ, आई मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट वन. वी रिप्लेस पीपल एज क्विकली एज वी रिप्लेस क्लोथ्स इन आवर लाइफ. मगर थोड़ी पेशेंस और टॉलरेंस होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. टॉलरेंस इस बात की दैट वी कैन एग्री टू डिसएग्री. टॉलरेंस इस बात की दैट व्हेन यू डोंट एग्री विद माय ओपिनियंस और माय आइडियाज, इट डज नॉट मीन दैट आई एम रॉन्ग और यू आर राइट और यू आर रिजेक्टिंग मी. Tolerance is बात की that you and I can differ, have a different plan of life, but yet are we willing to walk on this path together, holding hands, with some ups and downs that will come, making our accommodations and learning to set healthy boundaries. पता है यार, अपनी एक्सपेक्टेशन मीट हो जाए तो रहमत है ऊपर वाले की, ना हो तो वो एक्सेप्टेंस होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. एक्सपेक्टेशंस बहुत नेचुरल हैं, हम सब एक दूसरे से एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं, बड़े नॉर्मल से इंसान हैं. मगर जब मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशन मीट नहीं होती है, देन इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू हैव एक्सेप्टेंस फॉर इट. अदरवाइज आप अपने रिलेशनशिप में गड़बड़ कर देंगे. Be accepting, as Abraham very beautifully said it. Fifth, set up healthy boundaries. Don't take shit from anyone, even if it's your boyfriend or your parent or anybody in your life or friend. People are free to say and think whatever they have to, but remember how you respond makes a difference and communicates the boundaries that you set. So nobody can harm you, can barge you in any way if you are clear of what you want and what you're going to take in and not take in. Then you will never settle in any abusive relationship. Next, sixth one, give more than you receive. So don't get into a relationship thinking what are you bringing on the table. As ma'am said, it's not the terms and conditions apply. It is not something, सौदेबाजी नहीं हो रही है ना यार. अगर देने की मंशा से आओगे, आपके पार्टनर की खुशी, उसकी इच्छाएं आपके लिए उतनी ही इंपॉर्टेंट होंगी जितनी आपकी हैं, तो रिलेशनशिप लंबा चलेगा. एबिलिटी टू एग्री विद डिसएग्रीमेंट्स और टू हैव पेशेंस एंड टॉलरेंस फॉर थिंग्स वुड बी बेटर एंड हायर. द नेक्स्ट वन, सेवेंथ, कम्युनिकेशन इज द की. यार कोई बात खराब लग रही है तो बोल दो ना यार. अपना ही तो बॉयफ्रेंड है, अपना ही पेरेंट है, अपना ही पार्टनर, अपना ही दोस्त है यार. चिड़ी तो जाएगा बंदा, तो मना लेंगे. कम से कम बात तो सामने करो, एंड लेट्स एग्री टू डिसएग्री एट सर्टेन प्लेसेस वेयर यू कैन. द नेक्स्ट वन इज टेक ओनरशिप फॉर योर ओन हैप्पीनेस, विच इज द एथ पॉइंट. कि यार अगर आपका मूड सड़ा हुआ है तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आपका बॉयफ्रेंड आपको खुश करेगा आकर, या आपके पार्टनर का काम है, या आपकी लाइफ में कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स चल रहे हैं तो ही और शी हैज नो राइट टू बी हैप्पी. चल यार, let's not overburden and let's not make our boyfriend or our girlfriend or our partner the god on earth. सब कुछ होना चाहिए उसमें. पति भी है, बहन भी है, भाई भी है, दोस्त भी है, counselor भी है. We have too many expectations and too many caps that we want our partner to wear, and we want all our needs to be fulfilled in. So go slow there. Ninth, we really hope you find better partners, but if you don't, also remember that relationships and life don't come with a warranty card. So there are few things that do expire with time. तो कुछ लोग आपके जीवन में, चाहे वो आपकी beautiful relationships ही क्यों ना हो, कुछ lessons के लिए आते हैं. Try take those lessons, and when it's time to let go, please let go. अगर गलती से आपकी एक उंगली कट जाए, तो आप चाकू लेके बाकी 4 उंगलियां नहीं काटते हो ना यार. Isn't it? You, in fact, maximize the use of the remaining 4. So if something is going wrong in your love life, don't stop growing or compromise everything and shut down and go think of suicide or whatever, like the other people, the speakers were speaking about. Take ownership and move further. Last, and I mean, obviously the list is ending, but just to summarize the last one, see, love is a purest form of emotion. धोखे 2-4 मिलने ज़रूरी होते हैं, 2-4 चोटखानी भी ज़रूरी होती है, वो भी आपकी ग्रोथ का ही पार्ट है. बट यू कैन नॉट स्टॉप ग्रोइंग, एंड एवरी ठक ठक, I mean, there's a very beautiful story, just 1 second, I'll take not more at it, with which I'll end. एक म्यूजियम में एक स्कल्पचर होता है और एक फ्लोर आपस में लड़ाई लड़ रहे होते हैं. रात का समय होता है, एवरीबडी हैज गॉन, एंड द चौकीदार वाज जस्ट ऑन द पेट्रोल, एंड ही हैपेंस टू लिसन टू द कन्वर्सेशन. और वो बोलता है इनको कि यार, दे वर टॉकिंग, एंड द स्कल्पचर सेज, द फ्लोर इज कंप्लेनिंग टू द स्कल्पचर कि यार, तेरी लोग बड़ी तारीफ करने आते हैं, तेरी फोटो वोटो भी खींचते हैं, तू उसी तो मिट्टी से बना है जिसका मैं बनाऊं. एंड स्कल्पचर रिप्लाइज, यार जब मेरे को वो ठोक रहा था ना, तो मैं सारे दर्द उठाने के लिए तैयार था, मैं टूट के बिखरा नहीं. लेकिन जब तेरे को ठोका ना, तू बिखर रहा था, यू डिडंट हैव द पेशेंस टू डील विद व्हाट लाइफ ब्रिंग्स फॉरवर्ड, तो तू फ्लोर बन गया और मैं स्कल्पचर बन गया. सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से इज, लाइफ विल ब्रिंग, और लाइफ बैंड बजाने ही आती है. शिव पुराण ऑल्सो बोलते हैं कि आपकी लाइफ में सफरिंग या प्रॉब्लम्स आपकी ग्रोथ के लिए आते हैं. आप क्या डायरेक्शन उसको लेते हो, आप क्या चयन करते हो. भगवत गीता ऑल्सो टॉक्स अबाउट द सेम. द actions and the choices that you make determine who you are. So remember that love and life is beautiful. Go form relationships, go slow, there is no rat race, no hurry. Date as many people, check as many chairs as Shah Rukh Khan says, but settle for one with patience. Take time. No guarantees that the person may fit on all the checklists and that chair may be perfect, but maybe as you age in a relationship, the chair may not suit you. So be open to that idea at the same point also. And more importantly, you all, I, me, all inclusive, are born with a purpose in this life. तो मोहब्बतों, रिश्तों के अलावा भी एक पर्पस है, उसको जरूर पहचाने. ऊपर वाले की रहमत से, आपकी बुद्धि, आपकी समझ से, आपकी विलिंगनेस टू अप्रिशिएट लाइफ एंड डील विद डिफरेंसेस से शायद रिलेशनशिप्स जीवन में आती हैं. तो embrace them, make very good use of it. And as Abha ma'am, I mean, she is obviously someone I always look up to, beautifully said that if things don't go your way, learn to be more accepting. My nani often used to say, man ka ho to acha, na ho to aur bhi acha. So with this, I probably leave all of you here. It was amazing. All the 4 speakers were beautiful. The young girls, hats off here. I mean, the kind of maturity that you show, मेरे को तो इतनी अक्कल बिल्कुल नहीं थी when I was young. And obviously, Abha ma'am and Atipriya, lovely, lovely. Atipriya, it feels so good to see one of my own students talking so beautifully. I mean, you've aged so beautifully. I mean, it was so heartwarming. And Abha ma'am, you are obviously a sweetheart. I mean, I have nothing more to say beyond that. And Sanya, thank you for taking this forward. Guys, the form is open. Now the platform is open to all your question answers. Please feel free to ask your questions, put your comments box forward, and remember to follow us on our Instagram and our YouTube too. You can see the details on the screen itself. The Instagram is with the name of Unique Psychological. YouTube is with the name of Unique Psychological Services. And to be a part of the core team member where you can contribute back to society, make a meaningful difference, and to be trained absolutely free of cost for that, we would be sharing those details in the group later with you. And all those who are willing can always join in. Thank you so much, Sanya. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. It has been a delight to hear you all speak. And ma'am, Gagan ma'am, you also beautifully put the points together. Thank you so much. The floor is now open to questions. You can feel free to raise your hand or write your questions in the chat box and we will address them. So I'll just check if there is. So Disha is asking, is there an importance of age in true relationships? Would any speaker like to answer this question for her?
I think I can, like, being 17, I think I'll just like to point it out that age, I think shouldn't matter till one point, but it is extremely important in, especially teen relationships, because I've seen people date someone who's not in their relationship bound, and it's unhealthy, it's unsafe, and it could lead to something that is not very correct for their life. So I think definitely, especially very importantly, when you're a teenager, you need to know this, that there is a legal age for a reason. And I think it's very important for you to keep track on that. And it's because grooming is something that could happen very easily. You need to keep in mind that you should be aware of how safe it is, or how unsafe it could be. So I think that's definitely important.
Yeah, I just want to add here, age has two, three contexts, what age I should start with relationship, what age my partner should be, what should be the age gap. There is a research on this, and those who are doing this dating and looking for on website, please see the researches as well. There are scientific evidence already available. What is the appropriate gap between girlfriend and boyfriend or partner, which is healthy, which has been till date on that sample healthy and happy? That's also important, but nevertheless, sometimes you see the huge age gap difference and people are happy. In relationship context I'm talking. So that I think everybody need to look at from that perspective. What is the need of a person, the compatibility factor, that's also very important. Age is important as per the scientific. I was also thinking that's not as important. When I read that research and with the sample size, I felt that it's very important to look at that gap in between two partners and relationship. And in marriage also, I think initially in our days, there's a huge age gap difference, a decade, and then it's like a fatherly treatment, and the partner treatment, you feel that is missing. So that's how we need to understand. In our days, it was okay. Now I think nobody will try to repeat the Ramayana, and Mahabharata, and which we all see in our scriptures also mentioned. And many Bollywood and Hollywood stars, there are examples, but there are exceptions if you ask me, But mostly what happens, general population, if you see, there the age gap has been mentioned 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. That's more than that. There is a relationship conflict which has been evidenced in the researches. So the age gap they have prescribed based on that research and recommended that 3 to 4 years is more than enough, and beyond that it creates a lot of issue. If you are in same age, that's also good. It's not that unhealthy, as you are saying rightly, Priyanshi, that you have to see and check, that's very important, sometimes people hide, their age, but you should be smart enough to understand from the body language, from the behavior, and the demeanor, and the kind of reflexes a person has. You can really gauge it and catch it, if you really want to understand that in the context of relationship. But I'm not saying that it should be negative for any point of view. We all keep on saying age is number. That's okay. You should be youthful at heart. That's not a problem. But when you are getting into any meaningful relationship, you have to check by all means, in every means, that whether it is leading to healthy and happy and joyful relationship or not. You need to ask that yourself and check. Because I should have not said this, but if I have not read that research, So I think I did not know that this was so important factor, Gagandeep, and I'm happy that today I'm able to tell you that data which is useful for this session and for the youths listening today.
Yes, ma'am. So Soumya is asking, when we say develop healthy boundaries and then we also say believe more in giving than receiving, I become confused in practically applying this concept. How to proceed with both the things at hand? I somehow lose myself at one of the end. Kindly throw some light on this. I think that's a beautiful question. Anybody who would like to address it?
I think this was the concept that I had been picking up in when I was summarizing. So I think let me take this lead here. सौम्या, बाउंड्री बनाने का मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप रिसीव या गिव में डिफरेंस कर रहे हो। सी ना, हेल्दी बाउंड्री बनाने का क्या मतलब है कि यार तुम्हारी बातें कुछ तुम्हारे पार्टनर को एक्सेप्टेबल होंगी, कुछ तुम्हारे पार्टनर की तुम्हें होंगी, कुछ चीज़ों पे तुम्हारी सेटलमेंट नहीं होगी। फॉर एग्जाम्पल योर पार्टनर में वांट कि यार नहीं तुम ना काम मत करो, यू टेक केयर ऑफ चिल्ड्रन, यू टेक केयर ऑफ फैमिली, but you may be wanting to work, which may be very central to your existence. Now that's where you're going to put a boundary saying that, see, let's talk about the fear that you have. If I work, what is it that I'm not going to do? Or what is it that something that, what are the common problems or conflicts that can happen? Let's talk about it. But even despite talking, अगर वो नहीं मान रहा है तो वहाँ बाउंड्री बना दो कि यार देख यहाँ पे ना नहीं जमेगा. If you take work out of me, then you're taking the soul out of my body. Then it's almost like I'm living dead. तो दैट वॉन्ट वर्क. तो बाउंड्री बनाने का मतलब है कि क्या एक्सेप्टेबल है, क्या नहीं एक्सेप्टेबल है, उसके बारे में क्लियरली बात की जाए, सामने वाले का फियर पर्सपेक्टिव समझा जाए, इनसिक्योरिटीज को एड्रेस किया जाए. एंड गिविंग का अर्थ होता है कि रिलेशनशिप वही काम का होता है जहां ग्रोथ हो रही है, वे यू एंड योर पार्टनर ग्रो, विच मीन्स दैट दे वुड बी पॉइंट्स. अगेन ग्रोथ का मतलब कंट्रोल या चेंज नहीं है. इट इज वन थिंग टू चेंज फॉर समवन एंड इट इज अनदर टू चेंज विद समवन. So when we are talking of that, we are saying that you could give suggestions to your partner कि यार देख मुझे लगता है ये तुम करोगे ना तो ज्यादा अच्छा रहेगा. मगर वो पार्टनर बोले कि यार मुझे नहीं करना है भाई, ये मेरी लाइफ के साथ नहीं मैच हो रहा है, आई एम नॉट रेडी. दैट्स व्हाई यू नीड टू शट अप. बिकॉज रिमेंबर, इन अ रिलेशनशिप बोथ द पार्टनर्स हैव देयर फ्री विल टू. आप सजेस्ट कर सकते हो, कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते हो. और आप किसी को उसकी मर्जी के बियॉन्ड तो नहीं ग्रो करा सकते हो ना यार. सबके अपने अपने लाइफ गोल्स हैं, अपना जीने का एक नजरिया है, अपनी एक्सपेक्टेशंस हैं लाइफ से. एंड गिविंग से अर्थ भी यही है that you do something that brings the relationship better. You take care of your partner's needs, well-beings, promote your partner to help that person grow and excel in life. I mean, this is what I meant when I said this. Abha ma'am, you want to say something to it?
Yeah, I think lighter part,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
would like to add that it is a saying that one should not fall in love, one should rise in love.
Very beautiful. I think Azan has typed
And
the question.
also,
Yes.
I would like to say that when we talk about giving in a relationship, how much to give and till what extent is also part of a boundary. So deeper down somewhere they are related. And the more that we work on establishing our boundaries, we'll understand that they're not very two different concepts.
Very beautiful, Aditi.
But at the end of the day, don't overdo yourself.
Yes. Healthy boundaries. That is where the healthy boundaries come.
Sometimes it happens that you overdo and then you repent. It's too late.
Yeah.
I think boundaries in one way is also the love you have for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very important.
Beautiful, Sanya. Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, next one, Sanya.
Yes, ma'am.
Azan.
So Azan has written, ma'am, I wanted to say that I agree with Abha, ma'am, but I just wanted to add that the main problem is not the age gap, it's the maturity gap. For example, if the partner is of age 26 and 30, it is normal in today's, but if the relationship of partner of age 14 and 18, then it is unhealthy, as both the relationship has age gap of 4, but the second relationship, the maturity gap is huge. Yeah, I think Abha ma'am did address that as well.
Yeah, also what he's trying to say, why we get into relationship in teen, we should have as you are saying rightly, but this is the trend now happening. In our days, we were so busy in our focused goal. Where is the focused goal? That I think Gagandeep, you raised a very important point, that purpose of life, that's the time it develops. But we develop something else. So relationship is important, but your meaningful existence is also important on this earth. So I think maturity will happen and it will take to you the highest peak in your life when you really understand this. In teenager, the relationship, now school, colleges, university, parents, they're not talking about. We were given mission in life. Do this, you have to do this. The goal is this in life. And you explore yourself. Start exploring. You don't have time for all these things. Play one game. You're so busy, you don't get time to do all these things. And explore and experiment and trial and error basis. So many relations. You drain your energy. At 20, age of 20, people have done a lot. And their main energy has been lost, which has to be lost in something purposeful, meaningful for life, and goal and the purpose and the passion which they should have. I'm not saying I'm not against any relationship. Don't get me wrong. So research indicated in relationship in maturity only, not in the teenager. There should be research should be done. I think nowadays generation is becoming like this. There should be this kind of research that what is the appropriate way to conduct ourselves in relationship in teenagers. If somebody came to me in school and said, I want to have, I think, sexual relationship with my girlfriend, I said, no, it's not right time for you. I will say, I have no qualms to say that way because I know his body is not ready for it. But how many of us speak like this in schools and college premise? We are entertaining more on this. We are promoting all this. It is wrong. We have to tell our teenagers, your body is not ready. And let me tell you, pregnancy issues happening because of this. Many, you talk to gynecologists. There's a group of gynecologists who are working on this and promoting this kind of awareness among teenagers. So for everything, there's a right age, you know. We were trained like that, you know, in our school and colleges. I'm from missionary school. It was not that kind of very, I think, traditional approach school. We were from missionary school and missionary college. We all learned everything in the college, but the purpose was very clear. When it should happen, why should it happen? And you raised that point, I think, that question. I also raised this question to all of you. Do you think it is important at this age, this or my purpose of life, my goal of life? This will happen. It will fall in place because someone is there for you in life, you know. They are waiting for you to explore and understand. Not at this age. At this age, you will have a lot of trial and error exploration and you will not fall in right place. That's what I have seen in many students and college, school students and college students and professionals. So with my experience, I'm giving this piece of advice from my opinion. Don't think that it is something I'm enforcing on anybody. It's my way of looking at things scientifically, biologically, physiologically, psychologically, and holistically. This will work and this will rock. Thank you.
Thank you, Abha ma'am. I think I agree with you. I'm 25-year-old and I realize as I'm growing old, I realize the importance of friendships, community building, people like-minded, and I think that adds a lot of value to your life. And I think if a relationship is draining you, you must reassess it. And if it's not adding value, you definitely need to sit with that relationship. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Or sit with psychologists.
Yes, absolutely. Anybody else? We have any more questions? You can unmute and ask, or you can leave them on the chat box, or you could also connect with us over email and we will get back to you.
So I think let's take this opportunity to thank everyone for valuable timings and the amazing insights that all of you brought in, the young people and yes, the senior faculty. We really, really appreciate this, guys. वो बोले जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि ऊपर वाले ने हर दिल के लिए एक दिल बनाया है. जो दिल आप में धड़कता है उसकी धड़कन किसी और की धड़कन से मैच जरूर करती है. सिर्फ समय का खेल है और ओपननेस की जरूरत है. आपको आपका मन चाहा जरूर मिलेगा. थोड़ी पेशेंस रखो और थोड़ा खुद पर काम करो. खुद को तराशोगे तो तराशा हुआ बंदा सामने जरूर खड़ा दिखेगा. So with this, I think I'd like to end this here. So Sanya and I are very happy to have all of you. Thank you.
चलो
all-
चलो चलो
Thank
चलो
you.
बेबी.
Maitri, can we request you to mute? But yes, you're going to say this only. Chalo, chalo, chalo. Let's meet again. So we are soon going to see you all in the next webinar. Thank you for everything. It was lovely having you guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Sanya,
you so much. You will all receive your certificates shortly, and we will keep you updated with our next webinars. Thank you so much for joining, and we hope to stay connected. Thank you, and thank you, speakers. It was a delight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And the speakers, the certificates will also be sent in a span of 1 or 2 days. Everyone will get their certificates. Thank you so much. All
Thank
right,
you
guys.
so
See you.
much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.